Ever wonder how some artists paint in black and white and end up with a colorful masterpiece? Well, me too. The concept isn't new. I've always understood the advantages. Colors are distracting, that's simply the truth. They are also relative, which means that they are affected by the colors around it. For example, any color on a white background will look darker than it actually is and even dull. Any color on a black background, though, will look brighter and livelier. This is part of the diuretic color theory and also why my background is set on 50% gray automatically, which you can do on Clip Studio. Painting in grayscale is really all about the foundation. You worry about values, lighting, shapes, details, but you don't have to be bogged down by color palette and color relationships, which I know some of us have at least on one occasion found ourselves getting burned out just trying to figure out the best color combination so we don't end up with a muddy looking mess. I can see why it may be chosen as a basic process for many artists, and I can even see why it might be brought up to beginner artists. Technically, when I got into art as a little youth, I would use charcoal pencil and paper, which in essence is grayscale. So it's not like I turned my face away from the concept entirely, but my digital illustrations are all in color. That's the point. I'm not a black and white artist. So the idea of even starting a project in grayscale doesn't even compute. But I have seen a lot of artists who start in grayscale on my feed recently, and it did get me thinking. This illustration is a fan art of artist Aurora. I was definitely not going to try and paint an original illustration with a new concept for me like this. I start as I do all my illustrations, blocking shapes and some general lines. I don't sketch anymore, and while it can be a little challenging, I find this method works best for me. I'm able to worry less about getting all the sketching done right before painting and just go straight to the painting. For some context, I did used to sketch originally for many years, but I'm definitely a perfectionist. I would work on the sketch as though it was meant to be a comic book or something. And that, of course, would take a lot of time, a lot of frustration, and it was just not beneficial to my process nor even my mental standing in the process. Like, I would start an illustration and basically immediately get myself frustrated, and that's not a good way to jump into an illustration. I use the same brush for the entire painting, which is chalk textured. It has blending, full opacity, and color changing tip, though it is irrelevant for the black and white portion. I use it to add shapes, detail, values, and even erase. Really, for all of my illustration, I mostly just use the one brush. If needed, I also shift things around with the select tool. Because I have a reference picture, I don't have to figure out value blocking, so instead I can go right into refining forms with the appropriate values. Also, I don't worry too much about soft versus hard edges. To be honest, I find that I stumble upon them organically more than anything. A lot of my process is muscle memory, intuition, and the vibes. That's it. Now, how finished should the black and white illustration be before moving to color? It's fairly finished, not going to lie, as finished as I can get the illustration in my opinion if it were to be a black and white painting. When I start adding colors, the shift in perspective is what will help to make any added changes to the features. Most of the process for painting over grayscale involves layers and effects. If someone tells you to only use one specifically, don't listen. For some things, I used overlay, for others, I used soft light, and other effects as I saw fit. I truly just put color on a new layer over the area I wanted on, and then tumbled through the effect layer until something looked remotely okay. If nothing looks good, I chose the closest thing to what I want and opened the tonal correction options. Truthfully, when I first put color over it and started to look at the effect options, they all looked muddy and ugly to me. You can tell this the best when I draw her hand, which I don't do in black and white first and just go straight to color. I don't know, I feel like you can definitely tell that the hand is livelier, not as muddy as the rest of her did on initial coloring. You truly do have to keep in mind that adding color is not a one-time thing. It's not going to look good. You have to keep adding colors over each other with different effects, different tonal corrections with this method. The highlights, the blushes, the shadows, the midtones, and you have to adjust with the tonal correction on all of them, all of the time, multiple times. It's a lot. You cannot expect it to look good by just slapping some colors, use multiply, and calling it a day. It just won't look good. I understand why this is a useful technique. I don't hate it, but I can't say I am entirely sold on it either. I'd have to keep trying more than once to really feel this method out. I feel like, and again, this is my first time, so maybe it's just that it's new to me, but I do feel like I got to the end slower than if I would have just started with color. It would not have taken me this long to finish the illustration, one, and two, for it to even look good. It would not have looked muddy if I had started with color. Despite me being on the fence though and saying this, perhaps you can expect another black and white to color video in the future. I would definitely encourage you to try the black and white method. Thank you for tuning in. Click on the subscribe button and let me know if you've tried this method and what you think about it. Have a magical day.